Welcome to Juggling 101. I'm your host, Mr. Fun. Today, we're going to learn to juggle, or someone is, just like this. Somebody will do this. Today, our challenge is to thank you there in the front aisle there. Thank you. Let's do the yellow one. So today, our challenge is to teach someone to go from being a non-juggler to being a juggler in under 5 minutes. Who will that be? Ivy Falk. Come up front. Yes. Give a big hand for Ivy Falk. So Ivy, if you'll take those balls over there, just one in your hand at first. I'll get down here in front of you so you can see me, but I'm not in your way. And here's how we'll practice. So first thing, Ivy, first of all, you have not juggled. You're not a juggler? Do you want to be a juggler? All right, that's all we need to know. Okay, so first of all, here's our practice. So one hand first and throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch. Just get the handle of throwing the ball. Somebody time me, by the way. 5 minutes, under 5 minutes. Throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch. I want you to basically just feel like the ball is right in front of you. So you're going to, don't let get too high above so you can see your eyes, okay? Now take another ball in the other hand and hold both of them in your hand like this and throw one in the other one. Throw, catch, and throw it back. So you can feel like you've got two balls in your hand. One, throw, catch, throw, catch, throw, catch. Now put the ball in the other hand and have two in your hand like this. Now, throw the other ball. Okay, so now you're feeling both. All right, now, are you left-handed? So that's your dominant hand. Okay, so whatever your dominant hand is, I want you to, this time, the non-dominant hand, your right hand, when you throw the ball over from your dominant hand, I want you to throw it, and then this hand, release the ball and let it drop. So in other words, I want you to catch the ball after you've released the ball. So just like this. One, okay? Right. Do that a couple times. Throw, release, catch. Throw, release, catch. I want you to get the feel of the ball leaving your hand. Good. Okay? How are we doing on time? How many? 2 minutes so far, okay? All right, now this time, put the third ball in your hand like this. Now this time do the same thing. Throw this in the air and then release the ball when you catch it. Throw, catch, release. Okay? Throw, catch, release. Throw, catch, release. Okay? That's all I want you to do. Do it a couple more times. Throw, catch, release. Good. Now, put the other ball down right quick, and this time I want you to just do this with two balls. Throw this one up, and instead of releasing this one, throw it back to the other hand like this. Throw, throw, catch, catch. Oh, man. Throw, catch, catch. Throw, catch, catch. Throw, catch, catch. How are we doing on time? We good? Okay, here we go. Here's your chance. Now, same thing. All you're going to think about is when you throw this other ball over, same thing, but then just throw the other ball in your dominant hand, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you. Big hand for Ivy Falk. Thank you, dear. Woo-hoo. Yes, thank you. That was excellent. Thank you, Ivy, so much. So now imagine if we are together. We are a juggling class, and I am the designated leader of the juggling class or our juggling group. We gather together because we believe in juggling. We believe in this. And we have an inspired text. It happens to be called The Complete Juggler. It has 8 commandments. The last commandment is, practice is the only key to perfection. Very Wesleyan. So we believe in this. We have a sacred text. I'm a leader among you. I know what I'm doing, or I think I know what I'm doing. I've been authorized to lead you. I've gone to school, and what we're going to do is read passages from this book every so often, maybe discuss them in small groups. But we're going to read this and come here once a week, and this will be the extent to our practicing. And as a result, none of us will become jugglers. Because you cannot go from being a juggler or a non-juggler to a juggler without doing what we were doing with Ivy. So, now, of course, at this point in time, you know where I'm going, and I can lose the metaphor. If we are going to try to be a community of Christ followers, we have to practice doing what a community of Christ's followers does, just like jugglers. We're not really the church because we possess that sacred book, a text, or a book of discipline, whatever. We believe it, we read it. It tells us why we're the church and how we are the church. That's not what makes us the church. We are the church because we engage in a set of practices over and over again, repetitive practices that transform us and inform us about how to be the church. We are a community of Christ's followers only insofar as we practice doing the things a community of Christ's followers do. What do they do? Thanks for asking. Just so happens that Lisa just read what they did from Acts chapter 2. And let me just highlight a few words. Teaching, fellowship, breaking of bread, prayer, together, distributing proceeds to all as any have need, meet time together in the temple, broke bread at home, glad and generous hearts, praising God. So there it is. Acts chapter 2, those are the things, those are the activities, the intentional activities of the church. Proclaiming the word of Jesus Christ. Christ is risen, and we receive that word, and we communicate that word. Studying the story of Jesus and the content of our faith together. That's what we do. Coming together on a regular basis to pray and worship and reenact Jesus' death and resurrection right here on this table. Engaging in fellowship and community building. Caring for each other and for those in need and advocating on their behalf. These are the essential, intentional, formational practices of the early church. They are also the intentional activities of the church today. And they happen to be the intentional activities of faith formation in this congregation. And I can tell you that because for the last 20 years, I have been informed in my faith. I've been formed in my faith. I've developed my faith in this congregation. For instance, I've been formed in my faith by the hospitality and welcome and love that has been shown to me in this congregation for the past 20 years. By many people who don't just know my name, but know me. Know my family, love my family, hold me up in love and accountability on a regular basis. I'm also formed by the fellowship and hospitality that I have extended to others who were once strangers but are now friends, people I've shared silliness and sadness, but also a cup of coffee and a good read. So week after week, that's happened, and as a result, I see my neighbor. I see my neighbor in a certain way. I see my neighbor across the street, across town, across the border, in the checkout line, anywhere. I see my neighbor framed in the lens of the fellowship and hospitality of this congregation. I've also been informed by the praise and prayer and the celebration and remembrance that we do on a weekly basis in this worship experience. We worship together week after week. I hear a child read scripture from this lectern. I touch a bowl of water with blue beads in it and hear someone speak aloud to me the words, "You are my beloved." We sing the communion liturgy. We create things that mark the seasons and the colors and the stories of our faith week after week in worship. I listen to John Calvin play precisely the right notes that move my spirit every week. So week after week, season after season, the result is that my heart is attuned especially to hearing God's nudging, God's prompting, and God's signs of grace. I've been formed in my faith by dozens of groups of people with whom I've read the Bible with, cover to cover, pieces of it. Some of them have been behind bars. I have been formed by the stories that I have shared with children, in which we have talked about Joseph and Jesus and Jacob and Jonah with costumes in Vacation Bible School. I've been formed by many of you on retreat, all church retreat, men's group on retreat, confirmation class on retreat, youth on retreat. As a result, my thinking and my conversations and really my consumption of all the culture offers comes with this curation, this critique of the Bible and its witness to us. I've been informed by the word proclaimed from this pulpit and from oftentimes not so much the people who are ordained to preach it, but even others, some of you. I have been formed by listening to a pregnant woman carrying surrogate twins read the words of Mary out loud on a Christmas Eve. Powerful. I've listened to this pulpit to someone speak who had just survived a massive heart attack and who shared with us a vision of faith, and it was a true vision. I have once upon a time been formed by all of our children up here singing and acting out the story of Jonah, and they reminded me that God had not abandoned me like at the moment I thought God had. I've been formed in my faith by folding sheets, by making a meal, by making sure people get a laundry basket done. Our room at the inn all year long provides that opportunity. I've been formed by standing in the serving line at the Christmas dinner at Riverbend, where mostly people are hungry for grace, not just the potatoes I'm passing out. I'm formed by being a part of this congregation, a congregation who all the time makes Christ's presence known, not just in nearby Johnson Elementary, but as far away as Uganda and Nicaragua. And so I tend to find myself in places of ministry and service, not because I happen to have a spare moment or a spare dime, but because I really don't have those. So, to revisit my opening metaphor, just as a juggler is formed by the continuous repetition of practices of eye-hand coordination, so we are formed together by the repetitive actions of intentional formational activities in the life of our congregation together. We are together. We experience together. It's through those repetitive activities that we participate in that we are formed in faith. At the end of our sermon time, we have been asking a witness to come forward and speak about or respond to the word proclaimed. I had trouble finding one person that I could call on to do that, because I really feel like we are all witnesses to the word today. So I'm going to ask you to be witnesses to the word just proclaimed. And so you don't have to speak out loud, but I do want you to speak to your heart, and I will give you promptings. So think about, bear witness to this. How have you been formed in faith, in your faith, by the fellowship and hospitality in this congregation? How have you been formed in your faith by groups of people reading and studying the content of our faith, the substance of Scripture? How has that informed and transformed and formed your faith? How have you been informed and formed in your faith by the worshiping of our congregation together? How have you been formed in your faith by the word proclaimed of Christ, Christ crucified, Christ risen, whether in word or in action? How has the risen Christ been made known to you in this place? And finally, how has your faith been formed by you and others in this place serving those in need? How has your service formed your faith? Those things are going on all the time here. It's not a question of what. It's just a question of if. Thanks be to God.